Again, this is where it was, and now it's over here. Okay, folks, what we're looking at here is we are going to be relocating this vent for my furnace. Forced air. I don't have air conditioning, so I can't really call it an HVAC. It is an HVAC, but it's just forced air furnace. I have ducting. This is a 92 home, and unfortunately at my local Lowe's, I didn't have the exact piece, but it's going to work, and I'll show you what I'm doing. The furnace is literally right behind that little door opening right here, so it's literally right behind this wall. So I'm not too concerned about the original gap. I will be closing this vent off, and the reason I'm doing this is because right when you would walk in my master bath, the vanity is literally going to be right here. I don't know why they did this, but the reason why this is actually rusted like that is because the previous owner, you literally stand on the grate while you're washing your hands. You're splashing water in your face. It's literally going to drip straight down. If you wear shoes in the house, previous owner did. A lot of sand under here, dirt from his boots. Terrible location. So I'm going to do what my dad did in his house. I'm going to put it underneath my vanity. And the reason I can do that is my vanity is a raised vanity. If yours is not a raised vanity, then what I would do is I would put it over here in this corner, so at least it's not right in the way of my bathroom vanity. And it would still be an eyesore, but they do make registers that you can tile in, because I will be doing tile. Lowe's actually sells one where it has this big strip in the middle where you lay tile in the middle and then the air blows up and around. I was going to do that, but still, same method applies, is that I don't want water dripping down into my vent. So we're going to move it, not even maybe 8-9 inches up this direction, so it's going to be completely underneath my vanity. I have done some pilot holes here, measured it out, my pencil line here, holes in each direction so I can get my saw blade in here, as we can see right here. And just like all my videos, in the description box, if you ever want to know about my tools, I'll always have it listed in the description box below. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the subflooring. It is winter time, and so I'm timing this just right. I don't want my furnace blowing. My furnace just turned off a few minutes ago. Shouldn't kick on for another maybe 10-15 minutes or so. As the sun's going down, it's getting a little chillier outside right now. So we're going to cut this, and I want to cut my hole before the furnace does kick on. If I don't time it right and I haven't cut my hole, I'll wait till it turns back off before I cut it. Just rather not have the vent blowing hot air and dust. I have my shop vac close at hand, so we'll be sucking it up as I go. Okay, the furnace just turned on, and this is actually perfect timing here. And I'll talk you through what exactly I did. Testing it, let me show you my original hole from the housing manufacturer. So this is the original one. That's a 10x4, or at least it's compatible with a 10x4 register. That might be a little bit slightly less. I want to take a moment and thank today's sponsor, which is Manscaped. They have just come out with their Platinum 4.0 package, which has everything you need for grooming. Let's go ahead and open this guy on up and take a closer look. And while we're removing this, they have many different products. I have their straight shaver. I have their crop mops. If you guys want 20% off your order and free shipping, look at the top link in the description box below, and Manscaped will hook you up. So this is the Platinum 4.0 package. They give you, number one, right off the bat, their brand new Lawnmower 4.0 that has a travel lock. It has a LED light for grooming. It's quiet, it's powerful, it looks good. It's waterproof. You can use this in the shower. You can rinse it under the water. I've used it on dry land and in the shower. Works great. Your accessory pack, crop preserver, crop reviver, and underneath this sweet little thing here, we're not done quite yet. We have a pair of boxers. And also inside the package, you have a nice travel bag. They also give you 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Body wash, which I've used. Love it. You get deodorant. We're not done. I'm sorry. You also get the nose and ear trimmer, the weed whacker. And I also want to show you their Boxers 2.0, the softest, best boxers you will own. I ordered 2 sets. I have the gold standard that come in a 3-pack. And also these ones are the Stallion. Let me quickly show you these. Each individual one comes in a little pouch like this. Open it on up. And what's so awesome about the Stallion is look at these. We got some little emojis with sunglasses, and these feel absolutely amazing. You got to get your hands on these. These are the only boxers I wear now. And look at that little gold pouch right there. Protect what's important to you, if you know what I'm saying. The band around the top is awesome. I wear these when I exercise, do cardio, mountain bike ride. You're not going to be picking wedgies out. These are absolutely fantastic. Definitely get your hands on these. In the top line of the description box below, click on see more. Description box will pop down. That top link will be a direct link that leads you over to Manscaped with my coupon code already applied for 20% off and free shipping. No matter what you order, you can order this or anything they offer. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. So I was a little concerned because Lowe's didn't have any 8-inch. All they had was 6-inch, but that's blowing out a ton of hot air. Definitely not concerned about that. And I will talk you through, let me go ahead and lift up this one real quick because there's nothing here. Unfortunately, I couldn't put it right here because for some oddball reason, we got a floor joist and one right here as well. Now with that said, we're looking good because I was able to push it back a little bit more. Instead of directly underneath it, it's going to be slightly towards the back, but again, it's going to hit my raised up vanity and it's going to push the air left, right, this way and this way. And what's nice about this is sometimes, lo and behold, gives you opportunities to do some better work. So I'm going to re-pex this. This was older 92. This is I don't think this is PEX. This is like that stuff that if you're on hard water, this type of piping like explodes and all sorts of nonsense. My neighbor was telling me. And so I'm going to redo this. Plus, I want this to come up out of the center area here. Absolute worst case scenario, it's going to be like this pipe here, just out towards the back, because I'm actually going to have to cut that to slide my vanity in anyway, because my plumbing does not come from the studs. I'm going to go ahead and wait till the furnace shuts off, and we're going to go ahead and talk through this. So here's my other bathroom, just giving you kind of a comparison here. So the way that L's, it goes through my office, which is over here, and then it L's this way into my theater room area here, which does not have any venting. This was an add-on, this whole portion of the house. We'll get to that in a later video, obviously. So I'm going to do a very similar thing here. I probably will keep that there, if not do the same thing underneath the extended vanity when I get to this bathroom. But what's nice is that the vent boxes, they end right here at the stairs. I'm going to blow a wall down in the hallway, and then I'm going to use another register and shoot it out into my theater room. It was on a whole separate propane heating system, which I don't like. I want to keep it one unit. We'll get to that. This one isn't that big of a deal, but you just don't want to come into a beautiful remastered, remodeled bathroom with tile and see some sort of ugly register. Yes, there are color matching ones, but when you do beautiful tile work, I'd rather that be hidden underneath vanities. So I'll probably do the similar situation now that I know how easy it is. Okay, so it's two pieces. This is the connector. This is 6 inches. And let me carefully get this out of here because it's a nice tight fit. So after we cut out this section, obviously it needed to be bigger than the actual floor register. Floor register, once again, is 4x10, but we needed to be able to get my 6-inch connector around 6-inch connector down through. So I extended it over here. Again, watch your pipes. Mine were out of the way. Obviously, this can't be done if there's plumbing pipes, but all my plumbing pipes are right over here, which is nice. So, and obviously they're over there because they're not going to work with ducting anyway. So what I did is, this is actually pretty thin. So I drilled through, and instead of getting my Sawzall in there, I just used some like steel cutting little nippers. Made not the best hole. There's definitely some shards. Then I took my glove and I bent the sharp edges inward, and if there was any loose ones, I threw those away. I shop vacked it, which I'll shop vac it one more time before I reinstall that one more time. And this slips in nice and snug. You don't want to get it like all wanky danky because then you're going to lose heat and it won't come up. So try to make it as tight as possible. And then what I was saying was that Lowe's does sell an 8-inch. The problem was they didn't sell any 8-inch connectors for the 10x4. So I had to go with 6 so it was able to fit. But what I have to do before I do clip that in is, this is what's going to hold down both of them like this. I'm going to screw that in so that stays nice and tight. And then what these little fans do at the bottom is, once this is in place, once again, then put on a glove, reach in, fold these tabs upwards. So reach in, fold the tabs underneath here, so they connect underneath here nice and tight. And then that way, that's not going to go anywhere on you there. Then you're going to line up your 10x4 floor register connector. You want to get it right up to the edge of the subflooring, so it's not going to throw off your tile or my Schluter underlayment. So I want to go right up to the edge, maybe a hair below it. Let's go ahead and look at my stock one from the manufacturer. See how they come up just a little bit below the line right there. So we'll be doing the same thing. And if you are wondering, no, you don't need a floor joist to staple this into. They just use staples. I'll probably do the same thing. And what I'll do is I have this, which is really nice for added strength. So I'm going to lean up the side right against this, and then I'm going to staple in my steel box, my aluminum box, steel box, I think it's aluminum, into the subflooring here. In the absolute perfect world, there would be another floor joist running right there as well. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, since I last left you, sometimes when you go through a project, sometimes you have to make slight alterations. We've already discussed how our first one wasn't possible. Our second one is. Now, after looking at the new PEX lines, unfortunately, I can't go on this side and up and around just due to the connection down here. So I'm going to run PEX with a 90-degree angle and meet on the other side over in the corner underneath the floor truss. Okay, so coming over here, this was the original hole. They did a terrible job cutting that out. Look at how bad that was. This thing was definitely probably leaking hot air, losing a little bit going underneath the house. I mean, still warmed up the house. It's just, it's not as efficient as it should be. So with that said, I actually purchased a vent duct cap, and this is supposed to be able to cap off like on the ends or something like that. I was thinking this potentially could work for this section. The other idea I had was I was going to fold this in on itself, and so you're still losing a little bit of air, but I decided to pull it up because what I need to do is I need to obviously fix these holes. So this one would be easy to fix-ish, but I'm going to do it right. So what I'm actually going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to cut my subflooring, because what you don't want is you don't want to lay your tile underlayment and then your tile and then have a weak spot and potentially crack your tile. So I'm actually going to have to cut my subflooring all the way back to this floor joist, as well with this one all the way back just a little bit further back to meet up with this one that's right here. Then what I'm going to do is I actually did the same method over here in this corner over by my tankless hot water area over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw in a 2x4 running this way into this floor joist right here. And then my subflooring is going to sit right on top of this one here for support, which is going to be screwed into this one. You can't really see, but now you can see right there. And then it's going to lay on top of this one, butting up right up against this 10x4 register box. So that's going to sit pretty. That's going to be stapled in here. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side, laying that flat, screwing in a 2x4 parallel, laying on my subflooring, a little cut section, butting up right against this, and then I'll staple this into that. My PEX will be running underneath, going up the pipe area here. And same method applies. I'll give you a shot here when I cut this back and this back. And then what I'm gonna do, because this, sure, it will fit in there, but I'll be leaking a ton of air and just a wasteful piece in my opinion, so I'll return that, keep that in good condition. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna cut a piece of the old box here. And I know what you're thinking, Chris, why didn't you just pull this one out and put this one in right here? Well, this one is old, crusty. The back of it is absolutely just caked on nasty. And we're not going to deal with that. We want fresh, we want clean. I don't want to breathe whatever hot air rubs up against those dust bunnies, that's for sure. But what I will do, I'll take a nice section, whatever the cleanest section is, out of the side area. I'll cut that. I'll use the clean section that the air runs on, and if there's any crustiness, it'll be kind of facing the top. And then I'll be using some adhesive, JB Weld Quick, epoxy, whatever is gonna be able to stick that down. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use a sheet of that to go over the top of this. And it looks like they already tried to do something or other with that. Probably some caulking because their cut was so messed up. And then what that's gonna do is that's gonna be adhesive down, and so the hot air won't obviously be able to blow that off and be able to keep the air down going to my master bedroom over here. Okay, folks, back with you. Now we have our seal nice and solid. I just used some leftover Gorilla construction adhesive in the white color. It's all purpose, all surface. It gets tacky in about 30 seconds, but what I did is, obviously that is aluminum, so I just set some hammers on top of it, angled. It is kind of messy, so be careful. Sealed up all my cracks. It's placed in there real nice. We're looking absolutely fantastic. Already did a check the night of when I put it in there, making sure I'm not losing a bunch of air. Now, what I'm going to be doing now is, as you see in this channel here, I actually, because the temperature is about 34 degrees outside right now, I'm actually feeling cold air come up right through this area right here. Not so much this way, but over here, it's coming up right here. So now that I've already showed you that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in insulation on top, maybe put a little bit more over here, a little bit more back over here, stack that up real nicely. Okay, folks, so obviously it's not the prettiest, but I was able to recycle some of the subflooring instead of trying to cut a perfect square, or perfect-ish square, I should say. So what I've done since I last left you is I put in two 2x4s running this way at 15 3/8. I was able to get this side. I pre-drilled and screwed in on this side here and here. Sorry about the wind there coming up from the heater. And what I did is I lined up those 2x4s right at the edge right here. So then once the subflooring goes on top of it, it's gonna look really pretty. Now, and then what I did over here on this side, since I didn't have access to it like I did over here to screw in, I toe-nailed, I went in and then curved the drill bit. 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Again, there's only 2 2x4s running this way. You can kind of see through this gap, there's the 2x4 right there, and this gap, the 2x4 is right there. So I've put in some shorter screws into the subflooring, 2 on these pieces each, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and then 1 on this little shred here. Cut those down to size. Don't worry about, this is the size of the screws, I think those are like 1 3/8 or something like that. Don't worry about the cracks because I'm going to be using Henry's kind of patchwork, which I've done over there as well. There's the bucket, Henry 345. And so that's going to fill in the gaps really beautifully. And if your screws are sticking above the subflooring, then you want to countersink those. I actually got my level out pieces of subflooring are a little bit below the other pieces. So I'm not getting any scrapage with my screws. So I'm going to get my spreader and I'm going to spread the Henrys over the top of this, making it as even as possible. This lineup over here on this corner is really nicely. So again, this is what I used over here in the corner, like I've already mentioned. Came out real beautifully. This is a pre-mixed floor patch, Henry's 345 patch and level. I picked up a 1 gallon. They do sell it in, I think, a quart, but more bang for your buck with the 1 gallon. I do need to mix this up. This has been sitting for several months. Now, with that said, this is fairly expensive. I think at the time of purchase, this was like 30 bucks, and including in the master bedroom, because I was pulling up some subflooring, I had to run through a few of these. Obviously, this is a smaller patch, but what you don't want is you don't want to leave it inconsistent like that. Probably wouldn't hurt anything, but I'm not looking to crack any tiles. That's in the front of the sink, and even with my Schluter and mortar, I don't want any ifs, ands, or buts. Not messing around with tile. I did this with the luxury vinyl flooring in my closet, and again, worked out great. So we're gonna just mix this top portion up a little bit, put this in, and we'll go ahead and just spread it on like that. Making sure you wash this real quickly after, because this stuff, once it dries, and it's made for subflooring and other type of materials, so it's good stuff. Okay, as you can see, that's number 1 coat, and it's not perfect. There's a few little dimples over here and here, but for pass number 1, we'll let that dry for 24 hours. This is probably completely fine, but we'll let it dry for 24 hours and then we'll run a small coat over the back here one more time. But this side came in just beautifully. I don't want it too much. Perfect there. Tops of those screws are looking good. That's not going to interfere. And if you see any chunks, go ahead and clean it up now. But what is nice is if you do get some crazy chunks, it will literally just scrape off with a little bit of elbow grease. Like, see this right here? That would just scrape off tomorrow, but we'll mat it down a little bit nicer there. I like what I see. And again, these little ripples here that might affect it, those you could just scrape off after it's fully cured. Should be about 24 hours or so. That's looking good. Okay. As you noticed, it's so thick, it fills in the holes and the cracks that we did have. And for some oddball reason, if it does cure and drops in a little bit, then again, the second coat will fix that just fine. I don't expect any dropping because it's such a thick product. Now we're gonna work on this section, and then before we put a little brace in and staple in our register to that brace, we're gonna be putting in our PEX, cutting that down and slipping that underneath where this pipe goes right here. The vent here. Now, let me move this out of the way. Sorry, a little bit of snow and dirt on the ground here, but it is what it is. I had one little itty bitty hole fall through, not that big of a deal. And I do need to put just a slight skim second coat on this edge here. This is holding up really, really well. And even if that fell through one more time, no big deal. Tile is not going to be affected by a little dot, but I'll try my best to get it in there. Okay, so that patch is working out great. Coming over here to this patch, absolutely fantastic here as well with the subflooring little piece I have right in here. So let's look at the vent register box here. It is looking absolutely fantastic. I did use, this is Boschtich. I botched the pronunciation of that, but I'll try to have this linked in the description box below as well. I have 3/8 10 mil staples. And a little trick here to get the right whap on it. And even if you get the right whap on it, you still have to take a hammer and nail in the rest of it. I do have a little gap right here. And sorry, the heater's kicking on right now. And a tiny gap right here. I'll use some caulk and go ahead and fill in that. And the reason I'm doing that, I don't want any bugs getting up in those little cracks. And I'm going to do Henry's patch over these cracks here. I have one OSB flooring right here. I stapled into the back, stapled into the side, stapled all right here and here. Now that's looking absolutely fantastic. And then I'm going to cut one more piece of subflooring, place it in there, but you can see my brackets, my 2x4 up against the floor joist. And then I have some scrap 2x4s countersink in right here underneath for more support. And so that's going to be really nice and supported right there. All again, Henry's over the top of that. But let's go ahead and test the floor register, and fits in like a glove, as we can see, nice and tight. Don't need to put down any adhesive or anything like that, and I do want this accessible just in case something does drop in there. So we're looking good. Alrighty, wrapping this up, we screwed in our little piece of subflooring right here into those little brackets that we just saw. I'm going to Henry's over the top of this, fill in this little gap right here, and this area here I scraped up, make it nice and flat. And then after that dries and is completely flat, the floor will eventually be ready for my Schluter Dietra and then tiling. We got a little distracted here. We do have our cement backer board, full insulation in here as well for a little bit more quietness. I did PEX plumbing. We're going to get to all that. Those will be on separate videos. But hit that thumbs up button if that has helped you determine if you want to do this or not. If I didn't do it, it'd come back to bite me, and I'm glad I took the time to do it. It wasn't that hard. Again, this is where it was, and now it's over here. So we'll finish this up. In the description box below is going to be the tools and the links where you guys can pick some of this stuff up yourself. Here's my PEX valves coming up, and make sure you're subscribed to see this full bathroom. When it is finally finished, it's going to look just lovely. Thank you again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Don't let the party stop, guys. Hit one of these videos, continue to watch, and we'll see you soon.